Sappening lads, welcome back to Copper Logic. As you've probably already seen, Jordan Henderson's bound for El Ettifaq soon. We got a Fab ROM here we go the other day, and it's still in the process as of recording this video, but it's gonna be soon, trust me. Unless Fab ROM gets a here we go wrong, but that's pretty much unheard of. But anyway, I've decided to do today's video based on the question, who's gonna be Liverpool's next captain? Now obviously Milner was our vice captain, but he's now gone to Brighton, so it's assumed that it'll go to our next vice captain, which was Virgil van Dijk. Now don't get me wrong, Virgil obviously was our vice captain when Hendo and Milner were on the pitch, but I think for the long-term future of Liverpool, having a 32-year-old as your captain just means that we're going to be around having this debate in a couple of years' time. As I'm looking for a captain that's beyond just the next few seasons, I'm looking for the future captain. So here's my list for other potential candidates for both the captaincy and the vice captaincy. Starting off my list, we've got probably who's top of everyone else's list as well at the moment, or at least most people's. We've got Trent. I've picked a few reasons why I think Trent's my top shout. First off, he's 24, so that's a good age. He's not too young, he's not too old. I think we'll be seeing him with the armband for the foreseeable future if we did give him it. Plus, he's a local lad playing for his boyhood club, so I don't think there's ever going to be a risk of him going off somewhere else. A few years ago, I'd maybe have suggested that he's not confident or vocal enough to command the respect on the pitch that Henderson got. But I've realised people can be leaders in different ways. You don't always have to be that shouting, aggressive, explosive, get in your face kind of leader. You can also have people that lead by example. You could even just have players that have uncompromising high standards of the players and the team that don't shift or that try and elevate the team once you get to that stage. Or even a mix of all of them. But I think Trent does lead by example because he's a key player. He's a star player. He'll have the club's true ethos and high standards etched into his heart because he's a local and he's played for his boyhood club. Plus, he hates losing because he's so competitive. I also think he's matured leaps and bounds in the last 2 or 3 years. You see him now being able to talk casually and quite confidently to his teammates. I think that's important as well. So he's my top shout. Now my next choice would be Alisson Ramsey's Becker. He's obviously not as young as Trent, but I think he'll still have a good few years playing for Liverpool because he's a goalkeeper and they tend to last a little bit longer, at least compared to outfield players. He's definitely more of a leader by example, but he's also not afraid to confront or critique players' performances out on the pitch if they're not up to the standard. But he's also very polite and very respected at the club. And from my memory, he's also worn the armband on a couple of occasions, I think especially recently, so it wouldn't be a completely alien experience for him. My next choice would be Andy Robertson, captain of Scotland, so again, it wouldn't be a completely unknown role to him. He's 26 or 27 now, I think, and while it's a little bit older than Trent, it's still not old enough that we'd be having the debate in a couple of years' time. He's got a good relationship with all the players to the point where he could probably talk to them and express his dissatisfaction with the levels that were being set at the time without them thinking he's being funny or outrageous doing so. I think he's got a good balance of the 3 crucial requirements of being a captain, so he's my third pick. Sal to me would be a shout if it was a few years ago. It's clear he hugely respects the club, and I think that's needed. But he's also made everyone specifically aware that he wants the armband. He leads by example, obviously. He captains Egypt, and the only downside that is against him is his age. He's another one of those that in a few years' time, if we gave him the captaincy now, we'd have to revisit this whole conversation again by the time he leaves. I personally would have had him in a vice-captaincy role years ago when we redecided the order, but unfortunately the scenario just came a little bit too late for him. He would however be one I'd still give a vice-captaincy to though. And so my next honorary mention for vice-captaincy is Szoboszlai. For pretty similar reasoning, to be fair. He's young and he captains Hungary. He's clearly a promising player. He shows his high standards all the time. For example, when he first signed for Liverpool, there was that quote that came out that said he'd won something every year of his career and that he wanted to continue doing so for as long as possible, even with Liverpool. I think Szoboszlai covering for Trent would be a solid option. The only negative I could say is he a bit too fresh to the squad to be given such a role? Maybe. My last potential vice-captaincy shout is Curtis Jones. This one, to be fair, depends on how he progresses over the next few years. If he becomes nothing beyond a rotation player, it's a bit of a pointless move. But on the off chance he can find his role in the team and fight his way in, he'd pretty much have a similar reason to Trent. Young, local lad will have the club etched into his heart and isn't too shy to confront bad performances as well as give praise if needed. I want to throw a bit of an honorary mention out to Thiago as well. I don't know if he's ever captain Bayern, but I think he's a very good squad player. He's one of those people that really gets their arm around everyone in the team. Bit of an Adrian for us. Very experienced player, knows the game very well, so wouldn't be a bad option for vice-captaincy. I think, again, the only reason vice-captaincy is his age kind of lets him down for us. So that's basically 3 captains and 3 to 4 vice-captains that I think Liverpool might consider soon. I know the Curtis one is a bit of a wild shout, but I didn't want to just put Virgil back in because one, he's kind of already doing that role, and two, I think we just revisit this conversation in like 2 or 3 years time. So kind of want to try and avoid putting him in. But yeah, let me have it. And also let me know what you lot reckon. Did I miss anyone out on the list that should be there, or did I get any abysmally wrong? Let me know in the comments. And as usual, of course, if you don't mind clicking that thumbs up, it helps our stats, and also the YouTube algorithm loves it, so it helps with our exposure. And if you want to stay up to date with all the transfers, then make sure you subscribe with notifications on. Still got like a solid month and a half of this, and we're bound to get some more incomings, especially with Fabinho and Henderson going, so make sure you don't miss anything. But anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you lads in a bit.